Welcome to the Matt's Madness Show. This week, the Survivor Series review. Team Cena wins. Sting returns. And in my opinion, the foundation has been laid for WrestleMania 31. Stay tuned. We'll get it all rolling right after this.
Podcasting from the capital city of the great state of New York. This is the Matt's Madness Show, a weekly podcast about the world of professional wrestling.
Give me a hell yeah!
Technology, and damn near anything else that comes to mind. And now, here's your host, Matt Corsell.
All right, everybody, welcome. Again, thank you for joining me on the Matt's Madness Show. This is episode number 12 in the books. And wow, what a week in the WWE. If you're a wrestling fan, especially late 90s or even a casual fan, you had to have appreciated the Survivor Series, or at least if you didn't see it, you heard about it. The biggest news, clearly, is the return of Sting. Now, we're going to get there. Just some housekeeping things. Anytime you guys want to get in touch with me, it's questions@mattsmadness.com, Matts_Madness on Twitter, or if you want to, obviously, on my website, mattsmadness.com, on iTunes, Matt's Madness. So anything that you guys want to say or have me bring up on the show, definitely get in touch with me. Would love to address some things on air. And with that being said, rolling right back here to the Survivor Series, Sting's return was epic. And personally, for me, I never read any of the spoilers, if you will, the predictions for what was going to happen Sunday. I never even had a clue that Sting was going to be involved at all, or even be there. It's interesting that he was there that soon. And I'm going to give you my breakdown for that in just a minute. But before I do that, I just want to run through just the rest of the card quickly here, from chronological order, top all the way down to the main event. Won't take any longer, just a couple minutes, just to address the other matches, which were kind of a filler, in my opinion, for what was a one-match pay-per-view. But nonetheless, the open with Vince McMahon and the Authority was interesting because you don't have too many talking segments on Raw, or on a pay-per-view, ever, if ever. It's pretty rare. So when Vince came out, it's clear that Vince McMahon is trying to undermine the Authority. The question is why. We don't quite know the full story yet. There's speculation and rumors, but when Vince McMahon returned to Raw a couple of weeks ago and made that stipulation, it was kind of obvious that is what was going to happen, that the Authority was going to be out of power. Otherwise, it would have been almost an irrelevant storyline had it ended the opposite way. But it ended the way it did. The Authority's out of power, and Vince McMahon is the one who's really responsible for this. So he's trying to undermine the Authority. I'm thinking this is going to lead all the way into WrestleMania 31. There's no doubt that, to me, the road to WrestleMania started last Sunday in St. Louis. No question. And I'm actually very, very surprised that we didn't see Orton involved in the main event. Very, very shocked. I thought for sure he would be the one that was going to cost the Authority the match. Number one, it's his hometown. Number two, he has an actual storyline going into the main event, of which Seth Rollins stomped his head, off the table, into the stairs, caused the cut on his head, out for several weeks. He had enough time before the pay-per-view that it would have been believable if we returned at the pay-per-view and cost the Authority the match. So I was waiting for a Randy Orton run-in when Triple H got involved, RKO Triple H, RKO Seth Rollins, and then have Dolph Ziggler get put on Rollins, and there goes the match. To me, that would have made a lot of sense. We'll see where they go with this Sting storyline. So the open with Vince and the Authority, I thought was good. It made it feel big time, especially since we don't see Vince on TV that much anymore. The Mizdow versus Goldust and Stardust versus Los Matadores versus the Usos. I thought it was a solid match from a wrestling perspective. It's it's an interesting dynamic because Mizdow is the star of the match. We haven't seen a tag team in which there's a heel and there's a babyface together in a very long time. They come as kind of a package, and it's a weird dynamic when you have one that's actually a babyface and one that's a heel. And clearly, Mizdow was a heel or a babyface, and he was the most over guy in the match. So very interesting. The "We Want Mizdow" chants was great. I think it's kind of an overachieving gimmick. I think when the management originally gave him this role, I think it was kind of done as a maybe not a joke, but it wasn't probably taken too serious in the back with the upper management. And I think Mizdow was taken and run with it, and it's overachieved for sure. It is very highly entertaining having him mimic anytime the Miz gets knocked down. He'll knock himself down. It is very entertaining, and you do find yourself laughing out loud. So I love those chants. I thought it was, like I said, a good, solid overall action. He's, like I said, he's just too entertaining of a gimmick that I wonder if ever down the road we're going to be able to take him seriously. So, wait, I don't know, but I like the tag team. It's actually making the tag team division relevant. I hope they don't split these guys up. It's kind of a yin and yang matchup we have with the Miz and Mizdow. So hopefully they keep them together, and I like where it's headed. The Adam Rose Bunny segment, there's really not much I can say here. It's just one of those almost embarrassing segments from a long-time wrestling fan. I've been watching since '96, and this is the kind of stuff that this is exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to writing, trying to make a wrestling show funny. In my opinion, wrestling shows should be about wrestling, and when you try to throw comedy into it and have the bunny wrestle, it takes so much away from what's going on inside the ring and what the performers actually do. So it takes the legitimacy away. It's not funny. It's just not needed. I don't even want to get into it. So just a bad segment with the bunny. Not funny. To me, if comedy happens, it has to be organic in the ring or maybe by accident, but natural, not forced. And a bunny sure does not make me giggle at all. Anyway, the 4-on-4 Divas match with Alicia Fox was what it was. I didn't even know this was going to be part of the match. I thought the only match was the AJ and Brie, or the AJ and Nikki match, but it was okay. It was just kind of a way to throw all the Divas into a match and give them a payday. All for it. The Ambrose and Wyatt match. It was what I expected, but it wasn't. I knew that going in that WWE had to protect both characters because they're trying to build both characters simultaneously. Bray Wyatt, albeit they're trying to force him as a heel, and he is somewhat succeeding. He is getting cheers. He's getting people singing along. He's getting those cell phone lights in the air. That to me is a babyface. That's the good guy. Even though they're trying to do everything they can to make people hate him. When they turn this guy at the flip of a switch, full-on babyface, he's going to be huge. But the match itself with Ambrose, I thought it was good. The wrestling was solid for their first encounter, and this is obviously first of probably 3 or 4 matches that may or may not end at the Rumble or WrestleMania for that matter. Maybe their culmination in the blow-off goes all the way to WrestleMania, and you know what? I'm all for it. I think they need to dig deeper into these guys' personalities. They're both very similar. Their personalities are very, very similar in that they're both kind of deranged. They're both very complex, deep characters. And the promos for these guys could get a lot better, and I think they will. But the match was good. I think, to me, I don't mind if something's subtle in a match that sets up a match for the next pay-per-view, but this was so blatant and transparent that, and what I'm talking about is when Ambrose at the end of the match just, buries Bray Wyatt in chairs, and then gets out a table, and then brings a ladder out. Oh boy, guess what's in 3 weeks? TLC, tables, ladders, and chairs. It's just, don't be so transparent. If it ends in a disqualification, if they have they had a hell of a match out, I would have liked to see the match, wrestling-wise, go at least another 5 to 10 minutes, really put in some holds, I like some good old-fashioned chain wrestling, tell a good story, and maybe they didn't have all the time in the world for whatever time limit they were given, but I did not like the fact that it ended the way it did so quickly. I think I just needed a little bit longer to see the story evolve, but they did get the job done. They clearly showed the audience of where we're headed, and this is not a feud that's over. So it was okay. I get it. I understand. And the Bray Wyatt's mic work saying this Ambrose doesn't have to be like this. You can join me and all this. It was intriguing, but I don't really know what it added to the match. I don't understand what its destination was. It was just kind of a journey we were taking on for a purpose we don't know. So that's just my opinion. But again, this is a match one of probably 3 or 4. The Roman Reigns interview. Now, when I first saw that they were going to be interviewing Roman Reigns on the Survivor Series, I got a little bit concerned because his last 2 interviews, there was no clear-cut reason for them, and it was kind of awkward. It was uncomfortable to watch because Roman Reigns had nothing to really say. Just, I'm getting stronger, I'm coming back, blah, blah, blah. And it was just awkward. He was awkward on the mic. Very strange. I guess it was just a way to keep the Roman Reigns character in the fans' minds. Strange. This one, however, Roman Reigns seemed a little more comfortable in his interview, a little bit more loose. And it wasn't bad. I like the fact that this time next month, aka TLC. So apparently Survivor Series is just a launching point for TLC. I don't like that. I wish Roman Reigns had given us a little bit less of a specific time. Whatever it was fine. Roman Reigns added to the mix here can do nothing but help the WWE in a very main event stricken talent deficit, if you know what I'm saying. I don't think I put that right, but you know what I'm saying. They don't have a whole lot of main event talent, so any kind of talent that they can add at this point is a plus. The AJ Lee and Nikki match was strange. The kiss from Brie was unexpected for sure, and I don't quite understand the whole storyline. I guess that they're trying to say that the twins are now united, even though Brie was treated poorly as her assistant for 30 days, which is apparently up, but Brie's sticking with her anyway. They didn't do a whole lot of explanation on this, but the very quick loss from AJ immediately said to me, "Oh, she's gone," and the rumors are true. She's going to start a family with CM Punk. She's just leaving wrestling and all that. So that's what I got from the Survivor Series. Obviously on Raw there was a little bit more follow-up, and I'll get to that. Now on to the main event, which was obviously Team Cena versus Team Authority. I thought it was solid overall. I was impressed actually with the complexity, especially of the finish. So many twists and turns, how they kept it all straight. Very well done. The main event saved the pay-per-view for sure. They definitely delivered in the main event. And I'm going to go through the eliminations as they happen. Mark Henry got knocked out right off the bat by Big Show. I actually saw that coming. Not trying to say, I'm a Monday morning quarterback and 20/20 hindsight. I actually called that happening the way Henry was acting in the ring, getting pumped up by Triple H. I thought when Henry turned around, Big Show was going to be right behind him because of the way the camera angle was, and he was going to knock him out. Instead, he charged towards Big Show, and Big Show just punched him in the face. And that was the elimination. And the fact that closed fists are still legal in WWE in the matches, and they don't count as disqualifications, and that's a whole other issue. Whatever it was, Henry got immediately eliminated. Didn't see that coming. It was a very good way, hot way to start the match. It was 5-on-4 now. The next elimination was the curb stomp that eliminated Ryback. It's just once again establishing that curb stomp as a legitimate finisher. Didn't have any problem with it. I'm surprised that Ryback got pinned so cleanly, but it was what it was. And then Rusev got counted out. Definitely saw something like this happen. I knew that they had to protect Rusev. It protects his undefeated character. He's a hot heel moving forward. He still has not gotten beat. And it was just the only way, really, that Rusev could have left the match without looking a little bit weaker, and still looks like the monster that he is. So, predictable, yes, but needed for his character. And then another drive-by by Seth Rollins on Eric Rowan. Boom, Rowan's gone. I thought Rowan would be the first one eliminated. He wasn't, and that's all right. I like Eric Rowan's growing on me. I like his entrance music. His sheet mask is interesting. That he's keeping that from the Wyatt family. Do we see him pairing with Harper down the road? Most likely. Then the big swerve by Big Show. Boom, turns on Cena. I kind of saw him. I saw it happen about 5 seconds before it actually did. The way Big Show was clenching his fists and is ready to punch, and then I saw it. He kind of like looked over at Cena and boom, out. Didn't see Cena getting eliminated that quickly. I thought for sure that since Cena was already eliminated, he would have come back and at least taken out the Big Show, or just kind of gotten some revenge and just went crazy on the Team Authority. He's already eliminated. What's the difference? He didn't. He just, as always, took it like a man and never say die, never give up, respect, loyalty, and hustle and all that, and took it and left. But and then obviously the star of this match, Dolph Ziggler, by far. Clearly, this guy is main event talent. There's no question anymore about it for any of those people that still don't think that Dolph Ziggler is the main event. He is the main event. He has arrived. Is he ready for the World Heavyweight Championship? Don't know. I would still let him grow and develop, especially on the mic. Get a little bit deeper into his personality, but as far as his wrestling skills go, they are on the mark. He knows how to sell. He knows how to bring a comeback to the heel. He just knows how to wrestle, flat out. No question. And you find yourself really rooting for Ziggler, and I had a feeling, one way or the other, that it always comes down to one member from the babyface team is left, and there's always at least a 3 or 4 or 2-on-1 handicap match going on, just so you're pulling for the babyface. It makes you more emotionally invested in the match. So good job by Ziggler. Obviously, then when Triple H gets involved, I would have bet the house, as I said earlier, that Randy Orton was going to come through the crowd. Boom, RKO on Triple H, RKO on Rollins. Leaves the match, slithers out of the ring, throws Ziggler onto Rollins, and boom. He is the single reason that the Authority is no longer in power. So very strange, especially in his hometown. It's just interesting that they brought Sting in. I feel like it's almost too early. Again, I'll let the storyline play out before I pass any judgments. So overall, I'd give Survivor Series a B. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was great. I thought it was good. And obviously the next pay-per-view is right around the corner, and that is TLC, before we get officially into the WrestleMania season with the Royal Rumble in January. So running down Raw real quick, the Daniel Bryan return was very, very cool. I didn't see that coming. Maybe I just haven't been reading the dirt sheets lately, or maybe I haven't been following my normal source sites as closely as I do. I don't mind being surprised every now and then. It's nice to be surprised. So Daniel Bryan's return was great. I thought it was a great way to bring him back. Now, is he getting involved in wrestling matches yet? I don't think so. I think it's just an indication he's close. Great to see. People are still chanting yes, yes, yes out of their minds. It's great. He made a bunch of matches that was very awkward in the way he did it. I thought that went too long. The way he just kind of individually picked out the entire Team Authority and made Kane a concession stand. Concession Kane was kind of funny. And then made Mark Henry, and then it just went down the line. It was what it was. It just wasn't as well done. I found myself feeling a little uncomfortable watching it. The way it was presented was just a little too long, or something about it was off. But nice to see Daniel Bryan back. The Henry, the next segment in that was the Henry Ryback. It was a squash for Ryback. It tells me they have big plans for Ryback, and they are maybe just, I don't know what they're doing with Henry. He's a monster one week that's unbeatable, and then he'll get squashed like this by Ryback. These two had a match at WrestleMania 28 that to me it was what it was. It was okay. And I guess that was the whole premise for this match that Daniel Bryan made. So it was okay. It was just the way it happened. Then it was a squash match for Ryback. It's a little bit head scratching. the Vince, Stephanie, Triple H limo segment, and where Stephanie apologizes, and then Vince is just kind of disgusted with them. Again, I don't know where they're going with this. I don't know if Vince is ultimately going to end up being the good guy or the bad guy in this. He can be either one. He just has that ability. But I don't know. I'd like to see this whole storyline play out. I feel like we're just in the infancy stages of this whole thing. So I'm going to let it play out before I kind of comment on this whole thing yet. It has my attention, and that's the important thing. Ambrose versus Harper. I thought it was a little awkward. I thought it was decent action. I feel like these guys just couldn't click. And maybe that's because they haven't had a one-on-one match live on Raw yet. And I know they've battled when they were in the Shield and the Wyatt family, but one-on-one they haven't had a solid wrestling match. So maybe it's just because it's a little bit ring rust in the fact that they haven't had much time together to work and understand each other's styles and all that. So I thought it was okay. And obviously Bray Wyatt, it was just a match to set up Bray Wyatt interfering and paying back Ambrose for what he did to him at Survivor Series. So in turn, Bray returned the favor and buried Ambrose in the announcers' chairs, and left him there. So we get it. They're going to have a hellacious, very physical match at TLC. We got that from Survivor Series. Miz Dow and The Miz versus Golden Stardust for the tag team titles, a rematch. He won. The Miz won via the skull-crushing finale, and again, Miz Dow is the star of the show. He is the babyface, and I haven't seen a babyface heel tag team in a very long time, where the crowd loves one member and hates the other. I never really liked The Miz as a wrestler. I think he's got a great promo style. I think he could be a great manager. I just don't see him as a top wrestler. He's not bad. He just doesn't have it in the ring. He doesn't make me want to watch him in the ring. He's not sloppy. He just doesn't have it, whatever it is. So, I don't know. Just my my 2 cents on that. But Miz Dow, Damian Sandow, has a... who also got Miss represented by Lillian Garcia, who had a little boo-boo and called him Damian Sandow, which he was, but he's now Miz Dow. So I think that was just a little bit of an oops by her. But Miz Dow is... we'll see how much more popular he can get. Right now I wouldn't touch him. I would let him just continue to do his thing and grow his fan base, because he is getting every action from the crowd, and I gotta admit he's extremely entertaining. Big Show then says that he made a mistake. He comes out and says he wants to pretend it never happened, and pretty much asks for the fans' forgiveness. And then eventually the crowd, obviously isn't going to give it to him, and he turns on the crowd, and he's a full-fledged heel again. This guy's flip-flop more times than you flip a pancake. I don't know what to do with him. I don't know. I like him better as a heel. He feels more natural there. And we'll see where it goes with this one. Obviously, Eric Rowan interrupted him and then threw him out of the ring, beat him down, whatever. But these two have a match down the road. I guess it's a way to establish Eric Rowan as a semi-main event player, kind of get him in the mix. Good way for... This is really just about Eric Rowan. Brie versus AJ. Is Brie now a heel, I guess? And I guess AJ said that talent can't be sexually transmitted. That was actually kind of a funny line on many levels when you kind of dig in a little deeper. But I liked the match. I guess it means that AJ's sticking around. She didn't just disappear after the pay-per-view. And it's unfortunate if AJ does leave. She is, hands down, the best talker, the best wrestler, the best diva as a whole for WWE, and it's going to be a real big hit if she leaves, because she has brought a little bit of legitimacy back to a division that has been all about kind of filler and let's go get some popcorn and no real interest or personal issues and storylines. It's unfortunate if she does leave. It'll be it'll be tough in my opinion. And then the Cena Ziggler versus the JJ Security and Rollins, which was a handicap match. But I got to say, I love Mercury and Noble. I think they fit the stooge role, the security role, very well. They got the size that fits them perfectly. As they're just opportunists who just kind of pick at the prey when they're down, but can't take the heat when it's in the kitchen. So I like these guys. They make me laugh, but I love to hate them, which is what you're looking for, in my opinion. They're like Jack Briscoe and Pat Patterson back in the days of Vince McMahon, but they're not quite at that level. But they fit that role nicely right now for Rollins as kind of the stooges and the sacrificial lambs for Rollins. I love it. The one thing, obviously Cena wins, gets the AA. Ziggler hit zigzag. I mean, they destroyed J&J, and obviously Rollins, the heel, who you want to see get beat up, doesn't yet. He escapes again. He's so good at that. Rollins has evolved into a top heel. I like this guy. I love to hate him. He's fit the role very well. I think he's done a great job of learning the little nuances that make you a wrestling heel. Escaping, just before that babyface gets the payoff or hits their finisher, he knows just how to slither out of the way. But I do see Randy Orton in Rollins' future sooner than later. I think at the TLC pay-per-view, Orton will either interfere in Rollins' match or he will get involved before that. But Rollins versus Orton is coming. The last little tidbit on Raw was the Raw GM, the anonymous Raw GM. Say it isn't so. At first it was an interesting little kind of dynamic that WWE had. Who's this mysterious Raw GM? Is it Stone Cold? Is it The Rock? You're throwing around big names that isn't going to happen, but my God, they bring it back again. I mean, I think it was originally found out that it was Hornswoggle, I believe. They just wrapped up the storyline, I think, at the 1000th edition of Raw, and they ended up being Hornswoggle because I think the WWE at the time, because that anonymous Raw back in the day, Raw GM, they didn't know what to do. So they just wrapped it up, I think, at the 1000th edition of Raw. It was Hornswoggle. So the fact of bringing it back, I hope this doesn't continue. I don't know if it's just because the GM role has run its course or whatnot, but when you think about it, the anonymous Raw GM really being voiced through Michael Cole, who has been out of the wrestling picture for a while, and he's good as an announcer. Leave him there. Don't make him a heel again. He doesn't need to get involved in wrestling again. We don't need to see him in a singlet again, in that awful singlet, an orange singlet that I can't get out of my mind. Back when he faced Jerry Lawler, I believe it was at WrestleMania 28 or 27. Nonetheless, I hope they just leave this alone, because when you think about it, this anonymous Raw GM that kind of does their job electronically through email and is in the constant ding, 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 and the lights flashing 400 times. I thought it was a lackluster way to end Raw, and it's kind of like, no, I thought this was over. I don't know. I got that feeling of they better not continue this another 4 months of maybe giving the fans a little bit of who is this? It's run its course. This GM role has run its course. For goodness sakes, please end it. Or there better be a huge payoff that I'm just not seeing and blind right now. So with that all being said, I'm going to wrap this thing up here. Next week, I'm going to obviously run down Monday Night Raw. I got a little bit of tech news. I haven't dove into the tech world in a while, and I'm actually getting a smartwatch in next week, not the Apple Watch. It's called the Pebble Watch, the Pebble Steel. And we'll see how it goes. I'm going to do a little bit of review on that. And maybe a couple of fitness tips in there as well. It's been such a wrestling-heavy show the past 3 weeks with the pay-per-view, and then I had Talking WWE with Jay, who was an awesome guest, and I hope to come back and have him on the show. And he invited me for me to be on his show as well in about a week or two's time before the TLC pay-per-view, which I'm definitely going to be doing, and I'll let you guys know what day and time to tune in, because I think it's going to be a live cast, a live radio show through Blog Talk Radio. So a lot of stuff coming up. I promise I'll have a little bit of tech news and fitness news next week, in addition to obviously Monday Night Raw review. I want to thank you guys for listening. As always, questions at mattsmadness.com. If you want to get a hold of me, mattsmadness.com. If you haven't already gone and done so, click on my affiliates tab. Anything you guys want from WWE Shop. I got promo codes there that save you 10, 20, 30% off of your order. And if you want any great supplements, go to onnit.com. Click through my link. It's got just an enormous amount of supplements that I personally take. I take Alpha Brain, which is, I took this before the show. It keeps me sharp, keeps me on the ball, focused, keeps that fog out of your mind where you're kind of just kind of hazing around. It gets rid of that, does a great job. And so if you're looking for anything, supplements, even workout equipment, workout attire, onnit.com. Go through my link on my affiliates tab on my show, on my website. I'd appreciate it. And once again, I want to thank you guys. And until next time, take care.